Good evening. I'm Greg Sharpe with our sports ticker, which is brought to you tonight by the 1890 Initiative. The Big Ten Conference released the 2024 and 2025 football schedules today. Those are the first 2 years of the conference. Will have UCLA and USC as members. In fact, the Huskers are going to play both the Bruins in the Trojans in those first 2 years. Nebraska will travel to Pasadena in 24 to play UCLA. The Bruins will return to Lincoln in 25, and in 25, Nebraska will travel back out to Los Angeles, but this time to take on USC. The full schedule can be found at Huskers.com. It's day 2 of the NCAA track and field meet in Austin, Texas. The action has been held up a bit today with some weather delays. They're currently going, though. Decathlete Till Steinforth currently sits in third place with 2 events to go in the decathlon. The schedule today filled with a lot of women's events. Nebraska has a handful of athletes that'll be competing tonight. The college softball season could end this evening as Oklahoma has a chance at a three-peat. The Sooners blanked Florida State last night 5-0. Game 2 gets underway at 6:30. A couple of afternoon baseball games in the Bigs. The Dodgers blanked the Reds 6-0. The Rays doubled up the Twins 4-2. The Orioles avoided being swept in Milwaukee. They beat the Crew this afternoon 6-3. The Giants rallied to beat the Rockies 6-4. The White Sox and the Yankees battled through the smoke in New York. They got a game in this afternoon. The White Sox win by a final of 6-5. The rest of the baseball under the lights. Our sports ticker sponsored by the 1890 Initiative, helping Husker student athletes navigate name, image, and likeness. To learn more or donate, visit 1890nebraska.com. Now get ready for a full night of Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
3 eligible to the near side. Back to throw is Morgan. Stepping up, gets hit, drop. Oh, he got drilled at the 18-yard line. Ty Robinson's second sack of the year. I think he took his shoes off with that hit. Simon gets the shotgun snap. Huskers send a corner blitz. Simon steps, throws. Pass intercepted. Picked off by Miles Farmer.
Go,
to
baby.
The 35, to the 30. Rook tied down to the 27-yard line. Miles Farmer's 4th career INT.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
California, here we come. The Huskers are going to be headed there both in 2024 and 2025. They'll be playing UCLA at the Rose Bowl in 2024 and then go to the Coliseum in 25. As earlier today, the Big Ten announced that schedule out for those 2 years, the first 2 years of those schools becoming members of the Big Ten Conference. So glad you're with us here on a Thursday night, Sports Nightly. So glad to have you with us for the next couple of hours. We've got a great show. Trev Albert's going to join us here in a little bit and give us his reaction to the news today. He's been obviously on the inner circle of this whole thing, and I know they have been through hundreds, if not thousands, of different layouts and spreadsheets to try to make this whole thing work. We'll get some inside baseball talk from him about how all this came together. You had so many different people probably wanting different things from the schedule. You had a lot of long-time rivalries, trophy games in the Big Ten Conference that everybody wanted to try to protect, and we'll get the side notes from Trev about how all of that worked out. I'm pretty excited about this. I think we knew that Nebraska would be, because of our geography and Jessica being the westwardmost Big Ten school up to now, that Nebraska was probably going to play the California schools quite a bit, and we're going to see them 3 different times in the first 2 years, twice with UCLA and 1 game with USC.
That, and they knew Nebraska fans will travel there too and fill up that stadium. I kind of predicted that. I felt like that they would probably be strategic about which big teams they'll send to the Rose Bowl first, because you have all these new TV contracts. You want that stadium to look full and popping. And so, Nebraska fans are going to do just that. But, yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I sent the schedule to a family that lives out in California. They're like, give me tickets already. I'm like, well, we don't know the dates yet. But
that's true. We don't.
But, yeah, and then when we were talking about how you're going to, schedule it to where it's even or equal. And so you get 2024, and then, boy, what a bear 2025 is. But you never know. There's a lot that can change in a couple of years.
A lot has been talked about the guaranteed games, and I know Nebraska was really adamant about Iowa being one of the guaranteed games, and it is. They didn't protect a lot of matchups around the league. I think Iowa has the most. They have 3 protected games. The Nebraska game, the Minnesota game, and the Wisconsin game, they're going to play them every year. Penn State didn't get any.
Yeah, how about that? That's
None.
like the first thing that jumped out to me. Not one?
You would think their game with Ohio State would be protected, but it wasn't. So obviously they didn't ask for it, or the two schools didn't match up, because it's a two-way street. Nebraska can sit there and say, hey, we want to play that school and that school and that school, but if those schools don't pick Nebraska back, it doesn't match up. It's kind of a, you got to pick each other.
So nobody picked Penn State?
Nobody must have picked Penn State, or Penn State didn't pick the same teams that we wanted to play them on a yearly basis. That's really odd, isn't it? They're the only one to have no protected games.
Maybe, too, they're trying to build a rivalry between Penn State and USC. Maybe that'll be the next big rivalry in the Big Ten.
Huskers will go to Penn State in 2024, so we will see the Nittany Lions, but they had no protected games. Here are the ones.
Can you restructure that, like, after?
Well, the protected games are in place for a long time.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, okay, so say you play a couple of years and then you realize, oh, this is kind of becoming a little something.
They probably could.
And
sure.
then maybe.
Plus, don't we think there's more expansion coming?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think that there probably is.
Yes, yeah.
So, I mean, we've got this through 25. Who knows? There could be 2 more, 3 more, 4, whatever Big Ten teams added between now.
They might have to restructure that by 2025.
You could. So, people are really up. A lot of people are certainly fired up about all this right now. But let me go through the protected games for everybody. Illinois Northwestern makes sense, 2 in-state schools. Illinois Purdue, a little odd to me, although they're only about 90 miles apart, even though they're in different states, but they are pretty close together. Indiana Purdue, that makes sense. That's the old Oak and Bucket game. And then the 3 Iowa games, Iowa, Minnesota, with the pig of Rosedale, the Floyd Rosedale, whatever that thing's called. Our game with Iowa, and then Iowa, Wisconsin, and they both sit pretty close together geographically. Maryland and Rutgers, how much of a rivalry is that? They haven't been in the same league but more than about 5 years. That's crazy, but I guess they both go, well, at least we're close together.
They probably both think that that's a win for both of them.
You're exactly right. They probably do, but they're really close together geographically. Michigan State, absolutely, that's a no-brainer. Michigan, Ohio State, that's a no-brainer. That's the only protected game for the Buckeyes, is their one with Michigan. And then Minnesota, Wisconsin, again, they play for the Axe, the Paul Bunyan Axe, so that would make sense. And UCLA, USC. That's it. I think a lot of people thought Nebraska would have 2 or 3. They just get the 1 out of the whole deal.
I saw a lot of people upset, too, about it was a Michigan State. Was it Michigan State, Penn State?
Not playing.
Yeah.
Because Penn State's got none?
Yeah.
Why didn't those 2 pick each other? I don't get it.
Were you only allowed to pick 3, or you could?
I'm not sure. I'm hoping Trev can maybe fill us in on that coming up here in a little bit. But it's out. I think, again, you hit it on the head. I think we have so many alums, and we have a couple people who are with us every night on our YouTube stream who live in California. They're so excited that they're going to see Husker football coming to their state probably about every year.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And like you said, who knows? It could completely change in a couple of years, and we might be traveling to different places. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody was surprised that Nebraska had the California on the road the first year and then both of them the second year.
The 2025 schedule, and that's 2 years out, it's hard. I mean, there's no other way to spin it. I mean, that schedule is going to include home games with Iowa, Michigan, UCLA, road games at the Shoe, and USC. I mean, that's hard. I mean, right now you could sit there and say USC, Ohio State, Michigan, right now, top 10 programs. And I probably will stay that way. I mean, maybe they drop off. But I think Lincoln Riley's got SC trending up. Harbaugh's got Michigan trending up, and Ohio State's is solid. So the 2025 schedule is a really, really hard schedule.
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's the teams that you probably don't really want to see. But it will be fun playing in the Shoe and going to Ohio State. When's the last time Nebraska played at Ohio State?
2020, the COVID year.
But nobody in the stands.
Nobody in the stands.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been good to get away from them for a couple of years because they were here 2 years ago. And then, so yeah. But we'll be back. We're going back there in 2025. So, but hey, that's what you want. We talked about it last night. For these student athletes, you want them to be able to experience all those great venues, and you want to spread it around. And I think that's the whole point of this thing.
And I don't think, I mean, obviously that coaching staff's not shying away from anything either. And, eventually we've heard the staff talk about that. We want to get to where we're competing with the Ohio States. We're beating the Ohio States. We're beating the Michigans. And we're our name is at the top of that conversation. Well, how do you get there? You got to beat the best eventually at some point if you want to be on top of the Big Ten. So at some point, you got to embrace that challenge and go get it done.
Jessica, the exact name of this is called, the fancy name is the Flex Protect Plus scheduling model. And so the flex part is, and what they've done is they've gotten what they call two-play opponents. And that means you're going to play them in back-to-back years, one in your stadium and once in theirs. The Nebraska two plays for these 2 years of 2024 and 2025. UCLA is one, and Minnesota is the other. So we're going to play them in back-to-back years. They're not protected to eternity like Iowa is right now, but that's the way they did this. And then so we don't know going on who's going to be the next two for Nebraska for the two plays in 26-27. It'll rotate off. They'll rotate that through. So I know a lot of people are picking at this today. There's Twitter polls already out about, do you think Nebraska got the bad end of the deal this thing? I think you need to kind of study it over about an 8 to 10 year period to see how it does balance out.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you could argue they've got a pretty decent schedule in 2024.
I think it's very good. Absolutely. Home games with Indiana, very winnable. Michigan State, winnable. Minnesota, winnable. Wisconsin here. So, yeah, I think you got a chance to do some damage at home.
So you avoid getting a good chunk of those teams in 2024, and you get kind of the rewarded for that, or not rewarded for that, but you get them back in 2025. But at least in 2024, you get at least another buffer year to kind of, again, for the Matt Rule era to continue to get things going, and so that maybe by that point you feel more ready to go compete with those teams.
Sam in Omaha says, have either of you been to the Rose Bowl or the Coliseum? I've been to both. He's trying to pick which one to go to. I would probably lean Pasadena in the Rose Bowl. The Coliseum's in a pretty tough part of town. It's pretty rough. Little USC's campus is gated because that's a rough part of town. I would pick the Rose Bowl. If I were going to go to one of those two games, I would go to that one.
And I mean, unless things drastically change by then, it's also probably going to be more of a Nebraska home game than it will be a UCLA home game. Yeah. So it'll be a fun atmosphere for Nebraska fans because it will probably be pretty rocking with Go Big Reds. For Husker fans, and like you said, a lot of alumni, but I think probably both of those stadiums will be full of Nebraska fans.
I would think
have not been to the Coliseum. I have been to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. So, Sam, that's my thought. If you're just going to make one trip out there in the next couple of years, I would pick the Rose Bowl in UCLA. It sits in a beautiful area of town in Pasadena. Golf course surrounds the stadium. It's a pretty cool place. That's just my thought. Now, SC, pretty cool. They come out of the tunnel. The Trojan horse, I mean, that's a pretty cool scene. They probably have more atmosphere at USC. It's a cooler place to watch a game, but I think I would go to the Rose Bowl.
But also the lore of the Rose Bowl and the history there. I mean, it's one of the historic stadiums in college football, and just to experience it and be there. I mean, it's a little underwhelming as far as it's not like anything that's super nice, but how everything you hear about the Rose Bowl, just getting to experience it is always, I think, a bucket list item for college football fans.
All right, here's what we have on the program. Trev Alberts, we got a few more minutes before he's due to ring us up and join the program. He's been up in Omaha today. He's not going to join us in studio, but he's going to be on a phone with us here in just a couple of minutes. But we're also in hour two going to hear from Josiah Allick. You had a chance to talk to him. He's the transfer from New Mexico, played his high school ball here in Lincoln at Lincoln North Star, has a fairly famous sister that's already done some things on campus at Nebraska, and a great volleyball player. I know I'm looking forward to hearing that interview later on.
He's awesome. He's a great, fantastic interview. So I think people will enjoy hearing from him and his perspective, and he's got the right mindset. And you can already tell, when we started seeing the older guys that came in and the experienced guys, and you're kind of worried, how is this going to come together? But if they're all like Josiah, which I got a feeling that they are, I think they'll come together pretty quickly. But, man, just such a great perspective and very appreciative to be back in Lincoln. And so, I'm excited for everybody to hear that.
Fantastic. And Gary Pepin's going to join the program. He's another member of the 2023 Hall of Fame class. The longtime Husker track and field coach will join us in hour number two.
How about this, Greg? Alex Storako is getting the start for Oklahoma tonight, the Michigan transfer.
Just going to ask you, I mean, it's a chance tonight to wrap it up. Sooners have a chance to finish off the season here tonight. They were dominant last night, winning 5-0.
Yeah, they really were. I don't know. We'll see. This is a lot of times what Coach Patty Gasso does when she'll come out, try to win game one, and then see what the pitchers can do and try to give their dominant starter a night off. And maybe Jordy will come in if they in a closer type situation, Jordy Ball. But looks like the Michigan grad and a grad transfer at that. So this is her really only experience pitching in the Women's College World Series with Oklahoma. So, so it'll be interesting to see how that matchup goes down.
First pitch in about 10 minutes down there in Oklahoma City. All right, 402-413-2400. That's the number to be a part of the program tonight with a call or a text. We're back to talk to the athletic director, Trev Alberts. We'll do that coming up next.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting student Ann Gallagher with Campus News. UNL is the only Big Ten university in Nebraska, part of the only conference with an academic alliance. Being in the Big Ten means superior academics, unique student opportunities, better resources, and world-class research programs. With 72% of undergraduate students receiving scholarships or financial aid, UNL offers a Big Ten education at great value.
That's my neighbor, Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a very big mistake. Hey, Joe, you think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have your underground utilities marked before you start digging?
John, that's just for big projects.
Actually, it's for any digging project. Congratulations, Joe. You found your electric line. Remember, safe digging always begins with a free call to 811. You want to borrow my phone, buddy?
Brought to you by Nebraska 811. Get ready again for some Nebraska farm facts. When there's work to be done, Nebraska soybeans are on the job in many of your everyday products. In fact, Nebraska soybeans are hard at work in Goodyear tires, Ford cars and trucks, Skechers shoes, asphalt, fuels, lubricants, name brand paints and stains, and more. Soybeans are an innovative replacement for petroleum, leading to more sustainable products all over the world. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card. Free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For a delicious dinner on the go that will please the whole family, get Hai Chai at Hy-Vee. Right now, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for $4, just $22 during the month of June. Get 4 one-pint entrees, 2 pints of rice or lo mein, and 8 egg rolls or crab rangoon. That's right, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for $4, just $22, now through the end of June. Dine in or carry out the crowd-pleasing, award-winning Hy-Vee Chinese today. Some restrictions may apply.
A DUI is everything you didn't prepare for. You did not save for it. You did not train for it. You did not go to school for it. You did not raise your family or buy a house or get a job for it. It is not your life goal or a dream come true. You have planned for everything in your life. You did not plan for a DUI. Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
It's time for some Nebraska farm facts. Want to know a fast way to rev up our Nebraska economy while helping the planet? It's right in your tank. When you fill up with clean soy-based biodiesel, you're increasing Nebraska biodiesel production while reducing greenhouse gases by up to 74%. So look for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, our economy, and our farmers. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
More Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic care first. Studies show that chiropractic is safe, drug-free, and the most effective treatment option for back, neck, and joint pain. It can also help patients of all ages reduce migraines, improve mobility, and maximize athletic performance. Keep the entire family healthy and active with natural, cost-effective chiropractic care. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Farmers can make what seems impossible reality with a little hard work and ingenuity. They find solutions to reduce inputs and improve their yield. Valley Irrigation is no different. As the leader in irrigation technology, we deliver results and optimize your operation. Because when you have a vision for the future, you need the people that can make it possible by your side. Expect what's next. Expect what's possible from Valley. Visit us at valleyirrigation.com.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center. It's sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Well, as we mentioned in the opening segment of the show, a lot of talk today about the schedule finally dropping for the Big Ten football in 2024-2025. No dates or times or anything like that has come out, but at least we know who's going to be on the schedule. And boy, it's only 14, 15 months away before those two Los Angeles schools come into the Big Ten, and UCLA and USC. And Athletic Director Trev Albert's kind enough to join us. It's a very busy day, not even in Lincoln right now, but took time out of his busy schedule to join us for a few minutes. Trev, great to have you with us here tonight. This has been highly anticipated. I know on your monthly show we've talked about this for about probably the last 6 months. When's this going to finally come down? I know it's probably been through hundreds, maybe thousands of iterations to get to what we saw here today.
Well, thank you, Greg. Nice to be with you. But you're right. Yeah, obviously a lot of work, months and months and months of meetings. Anytime you have a 16-team league and you play 9 conference games, there's going to be variations. There's going to be, nuance to the scheduling. And, the real key to a scheduling philosophy and concept is it has to be consistent over time. You can't look at a schedule in the vacuum or silo of 1 year. When you're not playing everybody in a true round robin, ultimately what ends up happening is you have to go through several years to have things kind of even out. So this was an interesting and long process that obviously included former Commissioner Kevin Warren. It's included Tony Petitti and all the athletic directors. And I think the one thing you will acknowledge is when you look at everybody's schedule in the Big Ten, the reality is the Big Ten is a very difficult conference. Every single Saturday, you're going to have an opportunity to win games or lose games. And that's why I'm so pleased to have Coach Rule as our coach. Attention to detail and fundamentals are going to be critically important as we try to navigate through these types of schedules every year.
Trev, a lot of talk about the protected rivalries, and I know high on the list would have been to keep the Iowa one, and it looks like that has definitely happened. Take me through that. Did you submit more than just Iowa? And obviously, I'm sure you're delighted that the Iowa game is protected.
Absolutely. Gary and I talked immediately and both agreed that the Iowa-Nebraska rivalry needed to continue. And so ultimately, Greg, what the process was is we were asked by the league, and this was all independent, is if you protected one game, who would you select? And obviously for us, it was Iowa. And then it was if you wanted to protect 2 games, who would you select? And, I submitted Iowa and Wisconsin. And then if you want to select 3 protected games, who would you select? And obviously, geographically for me, Minnesota made a lot of sense. But then all of a sudden, a little gamesmanship started happening. You can imagine, if we could submit protected games, maybe we should just select the 3 teams that have been the least successful over the last 5 to 10 years in the Big Ten and protect them. So obviously that wasn't going to work. And so ultimately, as all of these other teams submitted who their protected rivals were, sometimes you submit a protected rival and that school doesn't submit you as a protected rival. So there's nuance there. And ultimately, the Big Ten had to go through, look at all of these requests from the institutions, look at our scheduling philosophy, look at competitive excellence over the past few years, look at geography, look at the integration of USC and UCLA, travel, student-athlete experience. There's a long laundry list. I think that the Big Ten included with the release. ultimately a schedule was created. And so it was also, Iowa's protected for us, but in 24 and 25, Minnesota and UCLA will be part of that. We did not release as part of this, but I know who in 25 and 26, who the other two are other than Iowa. So you just have to let these schedules sort of even out over time. We have to be consistent in its application in order for it to be equitable and fair. But I think the Big Ten did a very good job. There was nothing nefarious about the intent. It was very transparent. And at the bottom line, again, is if you're going to be a member of the Big Ten Conference, buckle up. We're going to have difficult games every Saturday.
And, Trev, as I look at the list, not everybody had a protected game, right? Not every school got at least one that they know they're going to play every year.
Well, that's exactly right. And we talked about this a little bit in that anytime there's a different application from school to school, it's very natural for either fans or even the media to jump to a conclusion that maybe somebody has an advantage or maybe there's some sort of conspiracy around. None of that was true. The Big Ten had to take all this information. I don't think Penn State has a protected rival.
No.
And so, you can look at these things a lot of different ways. Again, it's really hard, Greg, to take a look at where a team is today and make a projection about where they're going to be in 4 years. Greg, I don't know. Somebody might have subjected Nebraska as a protected rival because of what our record's been the last 4 or 5 years. I'd like to think, maybe Nebraska's record and competitiveness looks a little bit different several years from now under Coach Rule. So, scheduling's important, obviously, but without, everybody playing everybody, you're going to have some variations to the schedule that have to even out over time. And I think the more transparency you can have around how Big Ten came to its scheduling decision is good. And I think they've tried really hard internally and externally to communicate that more broadly.
Well, I definitely think Husker fans are certainly glad to see that Iowa's going to stay on there, and hopefully in that Black Friday window, I think you'll probably fight for that as well. Since we had you on for your show just a couple of weeks ago, we did get some kickoff times for this fall. Are you happy with some of those kickoff windows that we've seen so far?
Yeah, I really am. We talked a little bit about having that national exposure, and you look at what's already been released. I mean, it's pretty exciting. I recognize that the start time out in Boulder is going to be a little bit early, but, linear television, Fox, big noon kickoff. I think that CBS window against Iowa is going to be really special. I think that dedicated window and space on linear TV is a powerful way to get our brand out. At the end of the day, we've got to win these games. That's what we've built our brand on. We've played primetime games. We've played, creative games, but we were successful more than we were unsuccessful. And so that's what we got to get back to. And, but I'm excited about the amount of television exposure that Coach Rule and our student athletes are going to get. And our job is to hold up our end of the deal.
One thing, one of your cohorts, Gene Smith at Ohio State, made some noise a couple of days ago, Trev, saying that he does not want to play any home games at night after the first weekend in November. Are you along the lines of that, or are you willing to play anytime, anywhere with the Huskers?
No, we, I raised my hand that I think Nebraska, we love primetime games. I had the privilege of playing in some of them that just, it's the most remarkable student-athlete experience. I know the kind of commitment that NBC and CBS and our television partners are making to, really show the Big Ten Conference in an elite way. You look at what the NBC does for the NFL. It's literally a mini Super Bowl each Sunday night. And, we've been promised that same level of production and focus. And so, for me, getting an opportunity to play in prime time is important. Secondly, we've got fans and we've got student athletes that are used to this type of weather. And I, as a student athlete and others, we had to go travel down and play in others' environments that weren't comfortable. I'd love to get some of our opponents that perhaps don't typically compete in our type of environment in our environment. It's part of an advantage. Farmer in me, Greg, but if it's 33 degrees at 3 o'clock, it's cold all day. So let's play some football and play it in a prime time window that really shows off our brand. Certainly understand, Gene's perspective and respect other athletic directors, but I think when other schools see how powerful this prime time and this, day of Saturday is on network television, we're going to realize just how important this television deal will be for our future, not only monetarily, but as we continue to grow our brand. I've long thought that exclusive CBS window at 3:30 Eastern was one of the primary factors that helped build the SEC. It was awesome for the SEC. And so now we get the privilege of having that window at the Big Ten, and I'm excited to see what it does for all of the member institutions.
Going to be fantastic. CBS will be here for that Iowa game on Black Friday. Last thing for you, the two new additions, we're going to see them both in the first 2 years. That's kind of neat, right, to be able to play both UCLA and USC in the first 2 years of their existence in the league.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Obviously, we've had a history of playing UCLA. I had the privilege of playing out there in 1993. USC a little bit different. I think there's only been 2 times we've played USC out in California. But again, that's the reality is, Greg, that was probably part of the Big Ten's process. You got to recognize, other than each other, Nebraska is the closest game for either of those 2 schools. Think about that. So that's part of the geographic piece that probably went in. And but I think it's a great opportunity for us. I know we have a ton of Nebraskans in California. I think it'll be important as we continue building our brand nationally. We've always recruited nationally. We've been able to recruit tremendous players out of the state of California. So I think it's a great thing, and we'll look forward to getting out there and playing those 2 great brands.
You won that game, by the way, 14-13 in Pasadena in 93. If I remember right, I think it was a 1-point game.
Yeah, we did, Greg. It was a good football game. We didn't play real well. I think we ended up with 3 or 4 fumbles in that game. It just was one of those games where we had a little difficulty hanging on the ball. I think we missed a field goal, but we snuck out of there with a win. And I'll never forget that game. I played against the left tackle. He was 6'8", 310 pounds, and he was only a sophomore, and I thought at the end of the game, that guy's got a chance. He's going to be a good player. Well, that was Jonathan Ogden, who probably was one of the greatest NFL left tackles in history. And fortunately for me, I got to play against him when he was still a young pup. But great players, a great environment, and I just remember 15 to 20,000 people dressed in red at UCLA's home game. It was remarkable and a tremendous experience for me as a student athlete.
Well, and the Husker quarterback in that game, I'm bringing this full circle here, was Tommy Frazier, who we talked to last night on the program. It was announced yesterday, a part of the Hall of Fame class in the fall. Well-deserved honor for the quarterback of at least one of the teams you played on here in Nebraska.
Well, I had the same reaction when our team came to me and said, hey, here's the list of these, Hall of Famers. Are you okay with this? And I said, hold on, Tommy Frazier's not in the Hall of Fame? But, and it's not just Tommy Frazier, Laurie Endicott. You look at the list of folks, Gary Pepin. This is sort of a who's who this year going into the Hall of Fame. But I think it's indicative of all the great players and coaches that have come through the University of Nebraska. And it's going to be a real honor to induct them. I had a chance to and make him aware on the phone. And I'll tell you, here's a guy that's in a lot of Hall of Fames and awards, but you can still tell it's very meaningful to him, and he loved his days as a Husker. And so we'll look forward to honoring all of those past players and coaches and having a special time with them in Lincoln.
Fantastic. Trev, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us for a few minutes. I know you've had a really busy day today, but a big day for the program and for all the fans to finally see what we're up against in 2024 and 2025. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg. Have a great night.
There he is, Husker Athletic Director Trev Alberts joining us on our Sports Nightly Hotline, brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. They've got 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned that you can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. All right, thoughts, 402-413-2400. Fire off a text, fire off a phone call. We'll get into more of that next.
For a delicious dinner on the go that will please the whole family, get Hai Chai at Hy-Vee. Right now, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for 4, just $22 during the month of June. Get 4 1-pint entrees, 2 pints of rice or lo mein, and 8 egg rolls or crab rangoon. That's right, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for 4, just $22, now through the end of June. Dine in or carry out the crowd-pleasing, award-winning Hy-Vee Chinese today. Some restrictions may apply.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Step up to the plate and hit a home run with your next vehicle at Woodhouse. We've got all the bases covered, from our family-friendly SUVs to our durable trucks to haul your gear. Plus, our team will treat you like an MVP and help find the vehicle that's right for you. Visit one of our 20 locations to score big on your next purchase. Or shop our selection of new and pre-owned vehicles online at woodhouse.com today.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red.
SOS to the rescue. SOS to the rescue.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and heading for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so hot. The air conditioner is out again. SOS, he screams and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Lux Air dealer, trusted since 1950. With Lux Air, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power, savings with style, and top-notch tech to keep you connected. Not to mention plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. Toyota, the brand with a hybrid or electric vehicle for every driver. Toyota, the brand that helps save you money at the pump. Now, let me ask you a question, dear gas prices. You really think you can stand in the way of the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years? Think again. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, Let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense. More powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with JTech Solar. JTech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. JTech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
Husker fans, you've got an opportunity to be a part of the 100th anniversary of Memorial Stadium in 2023 by purchasing a Through These Gates mini plan. It's a 3-game ticket package. It's been on sale for a couple of weeks. $100 gets you into 3 games. The Northern Illinois game on September 16th, the Louisiana Tech game on September the 23rd, and then you pick one of the 5 home conference games: Michigan, Northwestern, Purdue, Maryland, or Iowa. The seats are located in the north and south end zones. Again, the phone number, if you want to call the ticket office during normal business hours, 1-800-8-BIG-RED, or you can do it online yourself, huskers.com/tickets. It's the Through These Gates mini plan. I love the flexibility of that plan, and I know we've sold several thousand of those already since they went on sale a few weeks ago. Thanks to Trev for spending some time with us, kind of laying out some things. That was interesting to hear him talk about the selection process that they were told to submit choice 1 for a permanent game, and then give us 2, if you wanted to pick 2 games or 2 teams you want to protect the rivalry with, and then 3. And so that's how that process works. So Nebraska submitted picks, but as Trev said, it's a two-way street. I mean, you can pick Wisconsin. Maybe they didn't pick you as one of the 3. And, again, Nebraska's relatively new to this league, even though we've been in there, 12 years now. But still, these other schools have played each other for a century. So probably we're a little low. So I feel good about it, the Iowa game coming on and moving forward and down the road with that. Had a question from Sam in Omaha about whether if you just wanted to go to one California game in 24-25, which one would you pick? I said the Rose Bowl. Art, who lives in Los Angeles, texted in and said, I've been to both stadiums and highly recommend the Rose Bowl over the Coliseum. But for me, it doesn't matter. As long as the Huskers are playing out here, I'm going to watch them. I'd go watch them in a vacant lot or a deserted island, go Big Red. So there are a lot of Husker fans in Southern California pretty happy to see this schedule pop out and see Nebraska playing UCLA in 24 out there and then USC in 25. And the Huskers were at the Rose Bowl in 2014 to play UCLA in a game out in Pasadena. They went out, was that 06, 07, 06? They played USC in the Coliseum. So it's been fairly recent. We played both of those Southern California schools. And again, as we mentioned, Nebraska's geographically the closest team to those schools right now. We're the westernmost Big Ten team until these two jump into the league next year. A couple of people in the chat room going, when's the volleyball schedule coming out? Soon. I've been told it's soon. It's going to be here before you know it. I was told by the middle of the month. So what's today? The 8th? So you got a week? Got to come at some point in time, right? Season starts in less than 3 months. So it's coming. I think they're waiting on the league schedule to be put together to get all that picked out. I was kind of looking through some of the, the divisions are gone. That's another thing that came out today, and I think we've all kind of known that division play was just going to go bye-bye. And part of me is a little sad. I think the imbalance of the league has been pretty apparent, right? I mean, you've had just a dominant East with the Buckeyes, and now the last couple of years with Michigan and what they've been able to do. So I think that you try to match up the 2 best teams in the league. You'd certainly have the fear. So we do have divisions this fall. Let me get that straight. This fall, the divisions are still in place. So the East-West format is in place for 2023. But starting in 24, with the addition of the 2 Los Angeles schools, they're gone. You do have, and I don't love this, but because Michigan and Ohio State are dead set on finishing the regular season, you got a strong possibility of those 2 being matched up in back-to-back weeks, where they would play on Thanksgiving weekend and then play in the championship game the next week. You have that real possibility. because those two of where they, and I don't think they're going to move. I don't think either one of them want to depart that long-time tradition of playing that last week of the regular season. But you do have that possibility that you could have those two playing in back-to-back weeks. Now, hopefully Nebraska has a say about that. Penn State has a say about that. USC has a say about that on down the road. But you do, the way those two have been trending, have a possibility of that happening as well. All right, 402-413-2400, the number to be a part of the program. Some texts coming in. We'll get to those coming up as we finish off hour one next.
Husker fans, mark your calendar for Sunday morning, July 16th to join the Nebraska football team in the race for a cure against pediatric brain cancer. It's the 11th annual Nebraska Football Road Race. This year, all runners start and finish on Tom Osborne Field in Memorial Stadium. The final 69 yards will recreate the iconic 2013 ESPY Play of the Year when brain cancer patient Jack Hoffman scored a touchdown in the spring game. To register, go to huskers.com/road race. Sponsored by the home agency with support from the Lincoln Track Club. More Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic care first. Studies show that chiropractic is safe, drug-free, and the most effective treatment option for back, neck, and joint pain. It can also help patients of all ages reduce migraines, improve mobility, and maximize athletic performance. Keep the entire family healthy and active with natural, cost-effective chiropractic care. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
For a delicious dinner on the go that will please the whole family, get Hai Chai at Hy-Vee. Right now, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for 4, just $22 during the month of June. Get 4 one-pint entrees, 2 pints of rice or lo mein, and 8 egg rolls or crab rangoon. That's right, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for 4, just $22, now through the end of June. Dine in or carry out the crowd-pleasing, award-winning Hy-Vee Chinese today. Some restrictions may apply.
Mertz lifts the leg, back to throw, has some time, rolling out, steps, throws downfield. The pass is going to be intercepted. Malcolm Hartzog at the 45 to midfield.
Tune in tomorrow for an encore presentation of Sports Nightly. In the 6 o'clock hour, we'll listen back to interviews with Fred Hoiberg, Kenzie Davis, and more. In the 7 o'clock hour, we'll take you back to conversations with Jazz Shelley and Amon Green. Tune in to your local affiliates or at Huskers.com or by using the Huskers mobile app. Go Big Red.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card. Free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The thoughtfully redesigned 2023 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. It'll get you off the beaten path with up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance, more than Honda CR-V or Toyota RAV4. The 2023 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Comparison based on competitor information from manufacturer websites as of June 2022. Duteau Subaru in Lincoln and DuteauSubaru.com.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe Jessica Coody with you here on a Thursday night, 402-413-2400. The number to dial us up with a comment or question, or you can fire off a text as well. Mike in Lakeside, Nebraska says, I'm disappointed that the Wisconsin game is not protected. I would rather have them than Iowa. Also surprised that Penn State, Michigan State isn't protected. I agree with the second part. I thought those two would stay together. But, Mike, I don't think most Nebraskans would agree with you that they'd rather have Wisconsin than Iowa. I think Iowa, because of our proximity and a lot of Hawkeye fans live in the Omaha metro area, I think it'd be a large people. If you had to pick one or the other, would go Iowa.
But that's why I asked you last night, because I do feel like for a lot of people, Wisconsin would be a close second. You don't agree?
They would be second. I don't know how close.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't grow up here with the rivalry, but I would probably, just from what I've seen and been around, I would probably feel like Iowa as well. And it's it's drivable and it's pretty heated and really in all sports too. I mean, look at wrestling, look at the basketball rivalry that's happened. So it's kind of one of those things where it's not just about football. And if you look at all the other sports, and I know we're talking about football, but just the overall rivalry between Nebraska and Iowa to me, because all of those teams are you could just feel it when whatever competition it is that they want to beat each other. And so I don't know if you get that as much with Wisconsin and the other sports. Maybe basketball, a little bit, men's basketball, but the women's basketball hasn't been as good.
No, they don't have baseball. Softball, they've been okay. It's been a fairly competitive series.
So
wrestling's been okay, but
to me, it's like that really rich rivalry is when it's more than just
one sport. I agree. Totally agree. 402-413-2400, the number to dial us up with a comment or question. The softball game's underway, no score after 1 down in Oklahoma City. You think about two. And you've experienced both a Wisconsin and an Iowa football game at Memorial Stadium. There's a lot more black and gold that we see here, and it is harder to see Wisconsin's colors because they're like ours as well. But there's a lot more Hawkeye fans that come to games here than we see Badger fans here.
And probably Iowa would say the same thing about Nebraska. I mean, because at that football game, that's the one sporting event I've been to there was a ton of Nebraska fans in that stadium.
Now, Crypto's right in our chat room. In volleyball, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the biggest rivalry is Wisconsin. So
I mean, the Wisconsin-Nebraska volleyball rivalry is bigger than the Nebraska-Wisconsin football rivalry.
Yes, exactly right. You're right. So, I mean, it does. But, again, maybe I'd be wrong. Maybe it would be. But as Trev said in the interview, he said, our first pick was Iowa, our second pick was Wisconsin, but I'm not sure the Badgers picked Nebraska. So it's got to go both ways.
Yeah. It's just wild to me. I wonder if anybody picked Penn State.
Right.
Or just the ones that they picked or didn't pick them. You know what I mean? If any school.
I'm disappointed that Ohio State and Penn State aren't going to be protected.
Yeah.
Because I would have thought that those have been marvelous games down through the years.
And how many times does it come down to that? I mean, last year, right? It was a big-time matchup.
Absolutely. And, in fact, Penn State has spoiled a couple of undefeated seasons for Urban Meyer when he was the coach at Ohio State. Those have been great games. I'm surprised that one didn't get protected.
And I understand that, but, I mean, it's kind of what Trev was saying earlier. You got to go beat teams, and it's going to be a tough matchup every Saturday, but also with the history and the atmosphere at Penn State, you just think that you'd want, when you come to play college sports, that's what you sign up for, is you want to play in those kinds of atmospheres. So you'd think that somebody would want to make sure that they are going to Penn State and playing in that atmosphere every other year.
I'm going to check some of my Penn State sources on Twitter to see what the reaction there today has been. Because they didn't get anybody. I mean, as Trev pointed out, they didn't get anybody. We have Iowa, so we know they're... But they're fat goose egg. I wonder if they're happy with that or if they're disappointed at it. I'm going to check that during the top of the hour break. All right, buckle up, folks. Put that phone down. It's a reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. 1 hour in the books, but we have a great hour coming up. Josiah Allick, one of the new transfers into Fred Hoiberg's program. He's a Lincoln product, has played at UMKC. He has played at New Mexico. He's back to finish off his college career next year playing for the Cornhuskers. We're going to hear from Josiah and Gary Pepin, who will be the 6th coach inducted into Nebraska's Hall of Fame. The longtime track and field coach for the Cornhuskers. He will be here in hour 2 as well. Our hotline brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. Hour 1 done. Check. Hour 2 coming up.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Since 1993, Dakota Mac has offered fixed long-term ag real estate loans perfect for any stage of life. The rebellious 15-year loan, the Here for Laundry 20-year loan, and the 30-year loan who thinks they can tell you a thing or two about parenting. Whatever your needs, trust Dakota Mac with your legacy.
Hi, it's Nick Reno from Dakota Mac. Please call me at 308-380-7564 to learn all about our competitive rates on ag real estate loans.
When you're a fan, you wear your team's jersey on your back and your heart on your sleeve. After a win, your world glistens. Lose, and the hurt permeates your soul. you'll always have a place with us in the Cox Fan Zone, where everyone can play and connect with other fans in a big group hug. See, in the Fan Zone, you're not some crazy fan. You're home.
Hey, Husker fans, this is Greg Sharpe, voice of the Huskers. Say Fan Zone into your Contour voice remote to play. Not at home? Visit cox.com/fanzone. Go Huskers.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal, because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. That's why we make trucks like Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 46 years straight and counting. Made for performance and capability. Made to play hard and work smart, on and off-road. That's because they're built Ford tough. So be future ready with Ford F-Series, based on 1977 to 2022 calendar year total sales.
Good evening, I'm Greg Sharpe. Our sports ticker tonight brought to you by the 1890 Initiative. The Big Ten announced the 2024-2025 football schedules today. Those are the first 2 years that both UCLA and USC become members of the league. The Huskers are going to play both of those teams in those first 2 years. They'll play UCLA twice, traveling to Pasadena in 24. The Bruins will return the visit to Lincoln in 25, and in 25, the Huskers will be back out in L.A. to tangle with USC. You can find the full schedule at Huskers.com. It's day 2 of the NCAA track and field meet in Austin. The action has been held up some today with some weather delays. Decathlete Till Steinforth sits third, with just 2 events to go. The schedule is filled up with some women's events tonight, although because of the weather delays, they're starting to shift the schedule around later today. College softball season could end tonight. Oklahoma has a chance at a three-peat. The Sooners blanked Florida State last night 5-0, no score in the second inning here in Game 2. Afternoon baseball and games currently underway in the major leagues. Middle of the 8th, the Tigers and the Phillies knotted at 1. The Astros have jumped ahead of the Blue Jays 2-0 in the 4th inning. The Guardians lead the Red Sox 3-0 in the 3rd. Going to the 3rd, it's the Mets 5, the Braves 3. They started Game 2 in Smoky, New York, between the White Sox and the Yankees. The White Sox won Game 1 6-5, and the rest of the baseball is played later tonight. Our sports ticker sponsored by the 1890 Initiative. Do you want to support Husker student athletes through name, image, and likeness? If so, visit 1890nebraska.com. Now get ready for Hour 2 of Sports Nightly here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down.
3 eligible to the near side. Back to throw is Morgan. Stepping up, gets hit, dropped. Oh, he got drilled at the 18-yard line. Ty Robinson's second sack of the year. I think he took his shoes off with that hit. Simon gets the shotgun snap. Huskers send a corner blitz. Simon steps, throws. Pass intercepted. Picked off by Miles Farmer.
Go,
to
baby.
The 35, to the 30. We're up tied down to the 27-yard line. Miles Farmer's 4th career INT.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Matt Rule's had a good night. Just got a commitment, and it's a familiar name to Husker fans as Mario Buford, the younger brother of Marquise Buford, a 4-star corner from the state of Texas. Had a little press gathering just a few moments ago and picked the red hat. He's going to be a Cornhusker. Jessica, if he is close to as good as his brother, I'm excited.
And if he's as close to as good of an interview as his brother, I'm also excited.
Marquise is an impressive guy.
He is sharp as a whip. That's the saying, right? Sharp as a whip. He is very, very great to talk to, has a great head on his shoulders, very knowledgeable, and is so appreciative of this opportunity. I just talked to him actually yesterday. I was telling you in the break that, he's coming off that injury, and he told me he's doing really well. Rehab's going well. He's ready to go, but they're going to probably hold him back a little bit more. But he said that everything's going well. He feels really good. So hopefully he's on track to return, hopefully during fall camp, but we'll see.
It's another name to put into the hat for that secondary, which is just so loaded with talent. My goodness.
But, I mean, they're going to need a lot of them, right? So,
True.
And I think, too, it's good that if you have some guys that either they go down or because it's inevitable, right? I mean, we see it every year. Or maybe somebody needs to come off and they're not doing things right. You have somebody that you can sub in there and not lose a beat. But, yeah, I don't know how they're going to sort it out.
It's going to be a lot of competition in August to play for playing time, and you better play well. And that's the thing. If you're not playing well, you're going to get subbed out, and that's a good thing. And I think you're going to see a lot more substituting from this entire staff, not just in the secondary, but across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree, there's going to be a rotation of guys. And I also, too, think that's what I like about this defense, too. A lot of it, I think, is going to maybe be tweaked for matchups as opposed to just being, this is what we do. And, every week they have the ability to be able to change things up and tweak things for the matchups against the different offenses. So maybe certain defensive backs match up better with certain opposing teams' offenses. Maybe they need bigger defensive backs back there as opposed to the smaller, quicker ones. You never know. And so I think they have versatile guys back there, too, and different kinds of defensive backs. But, I think that's going to be a room that's going to be – it's probably my number one most fascinating position group to watch in the fall.
I agree. That and to me, running back are 2 rooms that I just can't wait to watch how that all flushes itself out. All right, big news again. Mario Buford just selected the Huskers, so Nebraska picks up their first commit in a couple of weeks. That's good news to get that. Another big recruiting weekend coming up. They're going to have a handful of guys. They've had camps going on throughout the week. I've seen tours constantly going over during the day to check out the Go Big project. So this will be another big weekend for Matt Rule and the staff. The staff's been busy. A couple of them were down in Texas early in the week. They're back. I saw Coach last night. In fact, he walked by the studio while we were on the air last night on the show.
Greg, I went in there, by the way.
I haven't been over there.
So a couple of nights ago when we were doing all the interviews, and there's just this big rotation that guys are doing to get everything shot for Husker Vision, for the digital crew. And so they're shooting things in there. And I just went in there. I followed a group in there. And it's mind-blowing how big that thing is. As big as you think it looks on the outside and you get inside, I mean, it is going to be unreal. I mean, I am one of those people that it's hard for me to picture it and get it before it's done, but I did get a peek at the locker room, and holy cow.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. So it is massive, and the training table is big. It's just so big. There's so much room, and I know that's exactly what they needed.
Well, and people have raved about seeing, and I'm with you. I cannot wait to see the final product, and so I may hold off a little bit more. They're getting a lot closer because the team would love to move in there in early July and get kind of settled in before camp opens on July the 31st. Speaking of impressive, how about the Denver Nuggets last night and Joker's game, a 30-20-10 game from Djokovic?
I think he woke up a little bit, or he felt like he needed to get this team back on track, because I know they were really, really disappointed with how they played in Game 2.
32 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. First time in NBA playoff history somebody's had a triple-double of a 30-20-10 game. He's phenomenal.
You know, gosh, I was watching an interview with one of his teammates. I listened to they were on the JJ Redick podcast. I can't remember who it was, but he was going on and on about how when they first got in the league, he worked hard, but he's just gone to a whole nother level here in the last couple of years. And that sometimes in practice you were like, who is this guy? But then he really turns it on in games. But it is, they say just how great of a teammate he is, and he doesn't care about all this hoopla that's going on about him out of it, that he's just such a good teammate in the locker room, which you so appreciate and respect. But, man, somebody with that kind of game that is, I mean, it's unbelievable, all the things that he can do at that size, the way that he can pass. I mean, you know me, I'm a sucker for a great passer, and so his vision and able to distribute the basketball, I mean, it's just, to me, that's what... Of all the things with Denver, to me, that is what really sets them apart, makes them so dangerous, is his ability to pass the basketball.
I love that. I love his touch around the rim. It just has great touch. A lot of bigs clank it up there, don't have the abilities to kind of drop it in. He does. It's really, really impressive to watch. Game 4 of that series tomorrow night. Nuggets up 2-1. They're just about ready to drop the puck in South Florida for Game 3 in the Stanley Cup. The Vegas Knights up 2-0 in that series. Weird thing, and I asked you about this earlier, the Big 12 Conference is going to play some basketball games in Mexico City in December. Kansas and Houston now a new member of the Big 12 Conference, they're going to play a men's and women's doubleheader in Mexico City. And KU and Houston's men may both be in the top 5. Kelvin Sampson's had great teams at Houston the last couple of years. I don't know that I get that, but they're going to try to, I guess, go get the market of Mexico.
I guess my thing is that they have played several NBA games down there.
They have.
And so, I don't know, is there a good recruit down there? Maybe that was the thought behind it. But is it coming from the Big 12 and the commissioner? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe just trying to think outside the box and do what the NBA has done, because they have played games down there.
Here's their commissioner, Brett Yormark, said today, Mexico is a natural extension to the Big Ten footprint. Through Big 12 Mexico, our student-athletes will have the opportunity to compete in an international setting, and our conference will have the chance to showcase our brands across the country. He wants to put a bowl game in Mexico, in Monterrey. The basketball games are going to take place in Mexico City, but he wants to put a football bowl game that they would have a tie-in Monterrey. I guess I don't quite get that. But that's where the Big 12's going.
Maybe trying to get some fans down there and maybe trying to extend that TV network. Maybe that's part of it too, is with what the Big Ten is doing and the SEC is doing and trying to keep up with the Joneses and getting more money from a television package. Maybe that has something to do with it too, to try to find some kind of broadcasting in Mexico. I don't know.
This is the epitome of outside the box thinking, right?
Hey.
I mean, this is clearly he's...
But the Big 12 is behind. I mean, they got to try some things,
They do.
you know?
And they do have schools in Texas, and if they get Arizona, then they're going to have schools that kind of buttress up against the border down there. So, interesting thing. All right, need to step aside, get a break in. When we come back, Jessica's going to talk to Josiah Allick. We'll hear that conversation next.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting student Ann Gallagher with Campus News. 26 Husker students presented research findings on nuclear deterrence to a panel of U.S. Strategic Command officials at STRATCOM headquarters in Bellevue. The student-led presentation was the culmination of a semester of STRATCOM-guided research and the latest in a years-long partnership between STRATCOM and the National Security Studies program at Nebraska.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. That's why we make trucks like Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 46 years straight and counting. Made for performance and capability. Made to play hard and work smart, on and off-road. That's because they're built Ford tough. So be future ready with Ford F-Series, based on 1977 to 2022 calendar year total sales.
For a delicious dinner on the go that will please the whole family, get Hai Chai at Hy-Vee. Right now, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for $4, just $22 during the month of June. Get 4 one-pint entrees, 2 pints of rice or lo mein, and 8 egg rolls or crab rangoon. That's right, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for $4, just $22, now through the end of June. Dine in or carry out the crowd-pleasing, award-winning Hy-Vee Chinese today. Some restrictions may apply.
You already got the hat, the jersey, maybe even the occasional red and white face paint. So kick things off right this season and add the FNBO Husker Visa debit card to the list. Pay loud and proud for every Husker decal, t-shirt, or hot dog at the game. Wear your heart on your sleeve and in your wallet with the Husker Visa debit card, free with any checking account from FNBO, the bank of Husker Nation. Get yours today at fnbo.com/Huskers. Member FDIC.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Hello, tomorrow. We may not know exactly what you've got in store for us, for our routines and our normals. But here's the thing. Turns out, we've got this. We haven't seen everything, but we have seen ourselves be more ready for whatever you bring than we thought we would be. So when it comes to tomorrow, bring on the day. First Interstate, built for you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Visit us at firstinterstate.com.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense. More powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with J-Tech Solar. J-Tech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. J-Tech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. That's why we make trucks like Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 46 years straight and counting. Made for performance and capability. Made to play hard and work smart, on and off-road. That's because they're built Ford tough. So be future ready with Ford F-Series, based on 1977 to 2022 calendar year total sales.
That's my neighbor Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a big mistake. Hey, Joe, think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have the utilities marked before you start digging?
I'm not digging very deep. It's no big deal.
No big deal.
Dad, the TV's out. Internet, too.
Remember, safe digging always starts with a free call to 811. Oh, what a knucklehead.
Brought to you by Nebraska 811.
It's time for another round of Nebraska Farm Facts. If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef.
And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens. Farmers and ranchers raise livestock and poultry to provide nutritious, affordable protein for all ages to help build muscle and maintain energy for a healthy lifestyle. Keep that in mind as you prepare all that tasty meat on your tailgate grill. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Acres, the Midwest's premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. One of the good things about summertime is it gives us a chance to kind of focus on some incoming student athletes to some of the major programs that we cover on a regular basis, including men's basketball. And earlier today, Jessica had a chance to catch up with Josiah Allick, transfer from New Mexico to join Fred Hoiberg's team.
Josiah, Allick, welcome back to Lincoln. How are you settling back in?
Even though, I've been gone the last, 4 years, it just kind of feels like I'm picking up where I left off. So, not really too much of an adjustment, but it is going to be kind of different, having my own place versus being at home all the time. So,
how does it feel having this Nebraska gear on?
Oh, it's awesome. Because, I wasn't born and raised here in Lincoln, but I moved here in 5th grade. And so, obviously just Nebraska's just impact on the community. It's massive. Everywhere you go, every classroom, there's some piece of, Nebraska around. And so, and just obviously being a basketball player, you always dream about, getting to represent your state and represent your hometown. And so, being able to do that, it still kind of doesn't feel totally it is kind of surreal still, but hopefully that'll wear off. I can just focus on, just basketball. But
well, take me through your process when you entered the portal, how you decided that Nebraska, I know it's home, but it probably you had to go and find a good fit for you basketball-wise too. So can you take me through that process of how you landed on Nebraska?
Yeah, to not have it take an hour, basically, I tried to keep that, coming home part out of it, just because obviously that is really cool and something that's really exciting, but it's not really going to change anything in terms of, the team or the coach or play style or things like that. And so I tried not to have that kind of smooth out the edges and just focus purely on the basketball side of it. And I think I did a pretty good job of that, and just really getting to know Hoiberg and the Coach Nate and just the system, and just looking into the team, who they have coming back, who they had coming in, that kind of stuff. And just, Coach Hoiberg's track record of utilizing and developing his front court players. Obviously he had a lot of success this past year with Derek, and, just his improvement over the few years with him. And, even at his time at Iowa State, it was the same thing. He liked to play with versatile bigs that could do a lot on the court. And so that was super intriguing to me, just, being someone that is a front court player but has worked on their game to try to expand beyond just being low block. And so that part's really appealing. And also just, the team. I watched a lot of Nebraska's games last year because I've known Sam Griesel since I was a sophomore in high school. And so I was, just interested in, just seeing how he was doing. But, in the process, I was kind of almost doing research. And, I really liked what I saw. Even through the injuries and just the ups and downs of the season, they got better. They continued to play the right way. It wasn't a lot of just, any one guy just dominating. Obviously, Casey had a really good February, but even then, like, it was still very selfless, just team basketball, and you could tell that the defensive scheme was there. Like, it wasn't just roll the ball out and play. Like, it was very oriented, and it had a process on both sides of the ball. And yeah, I mean, it seems like something I could really help, and it could help me. So.
Yeah, I was going to go there next. I mean, you'd mentioned Derek Walker. How much did you feel, too, that you could provide some depth there in the front court, losing such a big-time player and a key role player like Derek Walker?
Yeah, so obviously, he was a really good player for them last year. And, I don't want to be just like a drag and drop, like be the next Derek, but more or less kind of bring my own kind of style into that. And because obviously he was a hell of like a scorer and a playmaker, and so I'm hoping that I can kind of fill that aspect of it, but also continue to just develop my outside shot as well and kind of bring that dynamic to it. But also like having Rink Mask from Bradley, having Juwan Gary back, having Blaze Keita, like, I mean, those are all proven players at the Division I level, and so we're gonna have a lot of just fluidity among the front court players, and also just having the depth and skill to really have a bunch of different lineups with also having like Bryce Williams, we have CJ Wilcher, Jamarcus Williams, obviously we have Casey, Hoiberg, we got Aaron Eulis coming in. I mean, we have a bunch of guys that have all kind of shown that they can produce at this level. And I mean, just with the way that Hoiberg runs his system and the way that we play team defense, I think it will allow us to have a lot of really different and just a variety of lineups that could kind of utilize and really highlight whatever the strengths are of like the team we have versus like who we're going against. And so I think that there's a lot of options there, which could be really good for us. So.
Yeah, for sure. Great perspective. Coach Hoiberg mentioned your rebounding a lot when he was talking about you. How important is that to your game and being able to provide that for a team?
I mean, I think it's huge. I think I think basketball games are really, like, if you look at all the consistently top teams in the country, almost every single one of them is like top 2 or 3 in their league in defense and rebounding. It's just you have to be able to make shots tough, and you have to be able to end the possession. Because you can play as great a defense as you want, but if they get the offensive rebound and they get another shot, it doesn't matter, because then you got to guard another 20 seconds or however long, or they get a kick out 3 off offensive rebound, which is like one of the best shots in basketball. And so I've kind of always just been that like motor defensive like rebound and hustle guy. That was kind of just my way of like earning my way onto the court as a kid, since I was never really that good at basketball. I was just like somewhat taller than everybody, and so I was like, well, I know I'm not going to do anything better than anybody else, but I know nobody else wants to play hard. And so as the ability has came along, I haven't lost that perspective and just outlook on the game, and kind of realized that it in itself has kind of became a skill and a trait that is kind of separates me from a lot of people, because a lot of people don't like to play that way. A lot of people don't like hustling like every second on the court. They don't like crashing the offensive glass every time. They don't like hitting bodies on shots. And so, I mean, yeah, like if I was a coach, that would definitely be my message. Is like, you have to rebound, you have to guard if you want to play. And so I'm hoping that I can continue to build on that, especially having my other ankle fixed up, and hope to be able to get everybody in that same mindset. And I think that will really allow our offensive game to really just push us over the edge, instead of just kind of like keeping us in the games. Like the defense is, yeah, I mean, it just,
you're kind of giddy talking about it.
Yeah, I mean yeah, because I think if you look at the game, I mean, you can find a lot of people that can score the ball. It's hard to find guys that are reliable defensively. And so, I mean, as long as you're not a liability on offense and you can guard, like, you'll almost always have a spot somewhere on some team. And especially at my size and my athletic ability, being able to guard and play with the motor that I have, and then being able to add that offensive kind of skill set to it, I mean, it makes me a very impactful player on the court without having to be like a 20 shots a game type of guy. And so you know, the older I've got, the more years I've played, like it makes me excited just to think about, you know, getting to do that on the biggest stage, and just continuing to develop with it. I mean, especially now that, you know, hopefully I'll be in a lot better shape with, you know, having both my ankles fixed up now. You know, I definitely, it excites me to think about what I might be able to do. So.
Oh, I love that. You know, you're an older guy, played a lot of basketball. There's some other guys that are coming in that are experienced, and you're mixing with the guys that are returning. How do you go about building that chemistry kind of in a hurry here in the summer so that you're ready to click come preseason and then season?
Yeah, so a lot of that just comes down to just the type of guys that we have on the team. You know, even in just this first week, just going through workouts, you know, just getting to know the guys, having meals with some of them sometimes. I mean, it's really, like, it really is like a good group of guys. Like, it's not very common that you have a team where everybody kind of gets along with everybody. Like, obviously on the outside, like, every coach is going to say that they have a good team chemistry and culture, but it's not very often that you actually have a locker room full of guys that actually all talk to each other and don't, like, kind of like turn a cold shoulder to one another and whatnot. And so, I mean, it was a very welcoming feeling. Like, I haven't really felt like, you know, I'm like the new kid in class and everybody else has their group of friends and I'm trying to fit in somewhere. Like, I mean, everyone's just kind of welcomed us in, and we've just kind of just molded together, and we're only a week into it. And so, I mean, yeah, obviously just as, you know, the summer progresses, you know, when we go on our trip to Spain, just practicing and training more together, getting through the dog days of the preseason and whatnot. You know, I see us being in a really good place to where we'll all be able to just rely and trust each other through the ups and downs of the seasons, and really, you know, hopefully build something great.
Just got a couple more for you before we start recording. We were talking about your hair. It's kind of become a signature deal for you.
Yeah, it's not in its best shape right now. It's okay. Yeah, because I had no idea that it would look like this, because I never really let it grow past, you know, a few inches in high school. But then I kind of started experimenting with it a little bit my junior year, and then just evened it out to like 2 inches all the way around my senior year, and just have been growing it ever since. And then I thought it was going to just turn into like a big afro. Like, that was my goal. But then, you know, as it kind of got past like a foot in length, it started to like curl up a little bit. And yeah, I would definitely say it's my pride and joy, kind of my signature piece, because I mean, I don't really have a lot of accessories. Like, I don't wear, like, you know, the expensive clothing or jewelry or shoes or anything. The only thing I kind of invest anything into is kind of my hair, which has a little bit of a process when I got to clean it. But
we might have to do something in the future with that, going through that process. Now, you know, I had to ask you about your sister. What kind of conversations did you have with Becca before landing on coming back here?
Oh, I mean, I mean, obviously she wasn't too in tune with the basketball side of it. She was able to kind of give me some insights into, you know, what she's just heard about, like, some of the guys on the team. But I mean, obviously she was a little bit biased into trying to get me here. And so when she finally found out, she was super excited. And she obviously was just, she tried to be as unbiased as she could. She's like, hey, you know, like, I mean, I hope you end up at the right spot, but, you know, Nebraska, you know, it'd be pretty cool. So I think that it was definitely a nice little extra cherry on top once I kind of felt comfortable with the decision to know that I'd get to be at the same school and represent Nebraska alongside my sister, because, I mean, that's not something very many people get to do. And so to share that with her is going to be awesome.
Thank you so much for your time, and welcome back, and we'll look forward to chatting with you more in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a perspective he has. And I mentioned earlier in the first segment about, you know, having these older, mature guys, and when Sam Griesel came in and his perspective on things, they played a lot of basketball, but then also the appreciation of being here and wearing that jersey. And then his understanding, he's done a lot of research on Coach Hoiberg and how Coach Hoiberg can help his game grow and how he can fit in this system, because it wasn't about just coming back to Nebraska and being at home and being around his sister. I mean, it had to be, all the boxes had to be checked. And so, I mean, I was really, really impressed. Cole and I went and chatted earlier today, and we both walked away like, wow, that was impressive.
He's going to be a fan favorite. I mean, I could sit there and listen to him all night talk. So.
Yeah. And we were just talking about this during the interview, but you think about the impact of Sam Hoiberg, because he mentioned that watching what Sam Griesel did here last year and the way that he came back and played here for a year. Who knows what kind of impact Sam Griesel had beyond just his 1 year playing here, right, of having some of those local kids seeing what he did coming back here. I mean, could be an impact that lasts longer than just that 1 year.
And I think we're seeing that in other sports happen too.
Mm-hmm.
People leave, go somewhere else and go, you know what? I'm by myself in college X and nobody knows me here. And if I go back to Lincoln and compete for the Huskers, everybody remembers me from my high school days. I think we're going to see it in other sports.
Well, I mean, that's how many times have we said it? I mean, you grow up, if you're from the state, you grow up, you know Nebraska, and a lot of kids want to play here, and then that's it. And that you just don't find this fan support that they're going to cheer for you and root for you and love you, those hometown kids and those home state kids. There's no competition. There's no, from where I grew up, Oklahoma State, and then, most other states have that, and I know there's Creighton, but I mean, it's so different here, and it's the show in town, and everybody, I think, gets a sense for that, and then watches it from afar, and like, oh, I kind of feel like I'm missing out a little bit.
Yep. Good stuff. Good to hear from Josiah. Wish him nothing but the best. Hey, our Sports Nightly Hotline brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. They've got 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned that you can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. When we come back, we're going to hear from another one of the newest members of the Hall of Fame for the Cornhuskers. Gary Pepin will join the show next.
Did I forget something?
No, just wanted to tell you I love you. Oh, don't forget to buckle up. Drive safe.
I will. Love you too.
Someone is counting on you to buckle up. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
It's time again for some Nebraska farm facts. For Nebraska soybean farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices. And they have significant sustainability goals by 2025. 10% more energy efficiency, 10% less land, and 25% less soil erosion. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
More Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic care first. Studies show that chiropractic is safe, drug-free, and the most effective treatment option for back, neck, and joint pain. It can also help patients of all ages reduce migraines, improve mobility, and maximize athletic performance. Keep the entire family healthy and active with natural, cost-effective chiropractic care. Find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
There is no place like Nebraska, and there is no place that treats you like your home like Sapp Brothers. For over 50 years, Sapp Brothers has fueled America's heartland and has been a reliable partner to local farms, businesses, and Huskers fans across Nebraska, providing the highest quality fuel, lubricants, and propane, servicing your farming equipment, and welcoming guests into our travel centers. Visit www.sappbros.net. Sapp Brothers is proud to be an official partner of Huskers Athletics.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear gas prices, go take a hike. Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. The Toyota hybrid lineup brings efficiency with power, savings with style, and top-notch tech to keep you connected. Not to mention plush premium interiors and the most advanced Toyota safety features. So, now you know who you're talking to. Toyota, the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. Toyota, the brand with a hybrid or electric vehicle for every driver. Toyota, the brand that helps save you money at the pump. Now, let me ask you a question, dear gas prices. You really think you can stand in the way of the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years? Think again. Toyota Hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
SOS to the rescue. SOS to the rescue.
As the Huskers head to halftime, Frank is off the couch and headed for the fridge. Ooh, but he can't make it because he is so hot. The air conditioner is out again. SOS, he screams and calls SOS Heating and Cooling, his favorite Luxair dealer trusted since 1950. With Luxair, you get a free 10-year labor warranty with a new system. SOS Heating and Cooling.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
It's more powerful than the legendary Husker option offense. More powerful than the black shirt defense. It's the sun, and you can harness its power with JTech Solar. JTech, the official solar energy experts of the Huskers, can help you shrink your energy bills and start saving money now. Solar power is clean, affordable, and it's dependable because the sun always shines on the Huskers. JTech Solar for your home, business, or agriculture energy needs. Visit jtechsolar.com.
Celebrating 50 years in the commercial real estate development industry in Omaha and nationwide, Noddle Companies is proud to continue its tradition of supporting Husker athletics. Check out what's new in Omaha, which includes revolving recreation and the food hall at Zone 6 in Exarban Village. Another exciting project coming soon are the Blackstone Urban Row townhomes. Noddle Companies, creating long-term value through community development. For more information, visit noddlecompanies.com. Go Big Red. Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Yesterday, Nebraska Athletics announced the 6 members to their 2023 Athletics Hall of Fame class, and delighted to be joined tonight by the coach of this class, and that's Gary Pepin, longtime successful Husker track and field coach. Congratulations.
Well, Greg, thank you very, very much. And I was surprised, and Keith Zimmer and Dennis LeBlanc called me. And kind of an interesting side note on that, you know, Dennis started out here in track and field. Mm-hmm. In fact, he worked a whole year. We wish we could have kept him a lot longer. Obviously, the tremendous job he's doing in academics was the same way he was in track and field, and his salary was zero. So he worked for free for the whole year, so we couldn't keep him very long.
That is fantastic. That was my first question was going to be, how did you find out about this? You know, you had such an unbelievable storied career here at Nebraska. Can you imagine when you came to Lincoln to take that job back in the 80s that you would be here as long as you were?
No idea. You know, I'm originally a Kansas guy and had an opportunity at one time when Bob Timmons retired to go back to KU and would have loved to have gone because that was my home state, and I knew a lot more people there, and my family was there, and my wife's family was there, but the situation was one in which track and field at that time wasn't high on the list of priority sports for him. So I decided to stay here. But to answer your question, no, I had no idea that I'd
Coach,
be here that long.
What was the state of the program like when you walked in the door? And you started with the women's side. You added the men a couple years later. What was the state of the program like when you got here?
Well, unbelievably different than what it is now. Of course, Carol Frost was here before me. Mm-hmm. And had a kind of a, I'd like to say, small program with mainly Nebraska athletes in it, and I think a couple good Jamaicans, of course, Merlene Audie, one of the best athletes ever. Everything, we went everywhere virtually by van. We had, Adidas wasn't in the picture. I had to go out at that time and get our own sponsor for shoes and for equipment, and there was no tutorial help. There was no training table. The men and the women were completely separate. I had a wonderful lady that had been assistant for Carol for a year or two by the name of Linda Zeck. And she did, matter of fact, she was Pat Logston's high school coach.
Oh, my.
And she was a great gal, and eventually, I think, got her doctorate degree in teaching teachers to help them with math. And then I hired, and Carol and Linda were the only coaches at that time on the women's side. Well, I had an opportunity to get another coach, a guy by the name of Mark Kostig. And Mark was with us for I don't know how long, and he had been a javelin thrower that I had recruited at the University of Kansas. Great guy, wonderful wife and family. And Mark lived in my basement for the first year. His salary for the year, $1,500.
My goodness.
So that'd give you some idea of what was going on. But the athletes at that time were terrific. I mean, not just great athletes, but great people, hard workers, and all those kind of things and stuff.
So you're here 3 years doing the women, and then
no, I don't think even. I think it was more like a year and a half or 2 years.
And then
Frank retired.
Yeah. Frank Savine.
Yeah, yep. And kind of interesting story. And so Frank, I respected Frank. We weren't close at all. And Frank despised the University of Kansas for whatever the reason. As a matter of fact, in the little track and field Hall of Fame up there, there's a poem up there that Bob Timmons wrote Frank on his retirement and stuff that was interesting. And of course, I respected Frank, and Frank was really a character. I don't know if you ever knew Frank.
No, I did not.
Yes, definitely a character, interesting guy. What I would kind of consider a typical East Coast guy and stuff. And so apparently Frank had talked with Don Bryant. They were closest of buddies. You know, I don't know if you're aware, but one time I think they were in an airplane wreck together or something, coming back from somewhere, or almost an airplane crash. And so they had gone to Bob Devaney. And, well, Frank called me and wanted to know if I wanted to go to breakfast with him. And I thought, boy, that's strange. Yeah. And I said, yeah, I'll go. So he said, how would you like to be the next coach of the men's program? I said, well, I'd be very interested in that. I need to know the particulars. So a couple days later, I got a call from Bob. And Bob wanted me to come over, and I went over. And he said, how'd you like to be the new men's coach? And I said, well, Bob, I would, but I said I would rather coach both teams. And he said, well, why in the world would you want to coach the women? Yeah, it wasn't surprising. And I said, well, Bob, I said, I've seen a lot of the programs that are separate. And there's a lot of problems there with that. Not that there has to be, but in most cases, there's a lot of problems in usage of the facilities and times. You can't have as many coaches. Generally speaking, both parties are crying for more money than what the other one got, and et cetera. And so Bob said, which this is kind of interesting, you get a kick out of this. Bob said, well, that's fine, let's do this. And I said, well, let's do this, Bob. I said, let's go a year, and if I don't like it and you don't like it, or you don't think I'm doing a good job, we'll just change and do something different. And he said, fine. And then he said, well, what do you think your salary should be? Well, being a young new coach, I didn't even know how to respond to that or whatever. And he said, well, he said, I think you ought to be making at least as much money as what Frank was making. I said, oh, that'd be great, because I knew he was making more than me, but I didn't have any idea. Well, I never did see that check come in or anything after all those years, and I was hesitant about ever going and talking to him about it or whatever, you know. So that's kind of how it started a little bit. Well, and Jay Davis was here. June Davis.
June Davis.
Yeah, she was here for, I don't know, a year or two. And, of course, Barb Hibner was her. And you know, one of the things I'd like to bring up about Barb, Barb and I had some terrific arguments about things. And she was a real competitor. I don't know if you knew that she was adopted and another tough East Coast gal. But people talk about all the time. I hear about volleyball and the great attendance and the fans and so forth. Well, the last few years of Barb's career when she was here, that's all Barb did, basically, I'd say 90% of the time, was to work on building up attendance and clubs for volleyball. She was the one, in my estimation and what I saw, that really got all that going. Of course, it helped to have great teams.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, she really did a great deal of work on that. And I don't hardly ever hear anybody, compliment her on that and stuff.
Well, they should. Again, visiting Gary Pepin, newest member of the 2023 Nebraska Athletics Hall of Fame. Coach, all those championships, 73 conference titles, all the All-Americans, all of that on the table. What are you most proud of in your tenure here?
Well, I thought about that a little bit after this came out, and I think it's a really nice honor. I'm not big into awards for myself and Hall of Fames and that sort of stuff. I see this as myself as kind of a spoke in the wheel for 42 years of great achievement, hard work by the athletes, of course. We wouldn't have had good teams if we didn't have good athletes. Everybody knows it doesn't make any difference how good a coach you are if you don't have the horses in the barn. You're out of luck. But the athletes, tremendous assistant coaches, really, really great assistant coaches. I was thinking on the way over here, and we've had a number of them, but a lot of those people, like the old football staffs, stayed for a long time and stuff. And I think I've only had one that I would have considered not particularly good coach. The rest of those coaches were really good coaches and were successful not only while they were here, but if they went on to head jobs or whatever. And then, of course, none of that would have been possible without having the support of the administration. So we had, of course, some ADs that I would say that were more supportive than others. And one of the things that has really changed is that in the late 80s and, well, let's say certainly in the 90s, once we got the new indoor facility, Nebraska had some of the very finest facilities in track and field in the United States. That's really changed. Time has really, really changed. And not only because we lost the outdoor track, but of course the indoor track, which is still nice, but it's getting old.
Yeah.
And lots of the schools around the country, like K-State's building a new multi-million-dollar indoor facility. Washburn University built a new one. Pittsburgh, the Gorillas have a great new indoor facility. I saw where Georgia's spending $174 million on a track facility, or it's included that, maybe both outdoor, but it goes on and on like that. Well, it was certainly, the university talks all the time about facilities and how great our facilities are, and which there are. There are a lot of great facilities here. But it was certainly much easier and conducive to acquiring or bringing in good recruits if you had really competitive facilities, at least, or better facilities than the people that you were recruiting against and stuff. So that part of it has changed some too. And I don't mean to be real critical, but a fact is a fact. So
you're the sixth coach to go in this Hall of Fame. So you're joining the Osborns and the Devaney's and the Pettits and the Francis Allens. That's pretty heady company, isn't it?
Those are all special people, and of course, Tom was my AD for a not particularly long time, and just wonderful to work with. But I've known all those people fairly well, some better than others, and I have great respect for not only what they did as coaches, but what kind of people they were and their work ethic and morals and all those kind of things. So, yeah, that's special to be with that group of people.
Well, you're right there with them.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations,
I appreciate
my friend. Gary Pepin with us here on Sports Audio. Again, a member of that Hall of Fame class. Are going to be honored at a football weekend in the fall. Cannot wait for that to take place. Folks, buckle up. Put that phone down. It's a reminder for the NDOT Highway Safety Office. We have more of the show coming up next.
Name, image, and likeness. And now you can have an immediate impact on the success of our programs. The 1890 Initiative is a proud NIL company in Nebraska. And with your help, we can maximize our student-athletes' opportunities with NIL and prepare them for life after college. Nebraska has always been a leader in college athletics. Let's do the same with NIL. To learn more, visit 1890nebraska.com, where 100% of your donation goes directly to Husker student-athletes. That's 1890nebraska.com.
Woodhouse is your premier luxury car dealer with exclusive Omaha Metro dealerships and 7 top brands to choose from, where craftsmanship, performance, and a stunning design are at the forefront. Your next luxury vehicle will immerse you in an environment unlike any other. Plus, get your buying experience to match the premium quality of your vehicle with available nationwide driveway delivery, and our knowledgeable sales teams will exceed every expectation. Browse our selection of new and pre-owned luxury and performance vehicles online at woodhouse.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Baseball season has arrived, and your local Cenex has all your favorite snacks and beverages for the game. So whether you're hitting the road for an away game, headed to Haymarket Park, or going to cheer on your favorite local team, make Cenex your destination for top quality fuel, your favorite snacks, and service from a local smile. Fuel your fandom at your local Cenex station. Husker Pride, powered locally at Cenex.
Huskers, do you want a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding? Explore the many ways you can be a part of the insurance community. Go to iian.org/careers today. Business insurance is a lot to manage. Did you know a trusted choice independent insurance agent can help guide you through it at no extra cost to you? They'll do your insurance. You just do you. Find out more at trustedchoice.com.
Sports Audio Hotline brought to you by Woodhouse, where you can shop your way from one of the 16 convenient locations or online at woodhouse.com anytime. 18 brands and a huge selection of pre-owned. You can always find what you are looking for with Woodhouse. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you. Our last show of the week. Cole, flip your mic on. Cole puts together our best of shows for Fridays during the summer. What do we have tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, we've got in hour one, Fred Hoiberg from a few weeks back talking about recruits. Kenzie Davis, Nebraska Women's Gym. 2 football players, Turner Corcoran, Miles Farmer. Hour 2, Jazz Shelley, Amon Green, and Tony White.
Sweet.
That's a lineup right there.
That's a lineup. All-star. They don't need you and I. Let's
No.
run that.
I mean, that'd be like some picks if you're going through a draft. That would be up there.
Well
Nicely done, Cole.
Good job. Man, you jammed a lot in that 2-hour show.
Cole's been the MVP today. He's helped me shoot interviews. He's tweeted. He's
Thanks, Jessica.
posted. He's posted the podcast. I mean, because I was out, so I was having to shoot interviews. I mean, he had to
All on
step
an
up.
empty stomach.
I know.
He's very hungry. He wants
And
dinner.
he is not like the mango slices. You do, I don't. So imagine that. We don't
Love
like
him.
something the same.
And we finished with Crypto saying a cherry Pop-Tart
For
to be
dinner?
given to Cole for doing a great job. Goodness gracious. All right, have a good weekend. This will be good. Florida State just took the lead. 1-0 Seminoles, trying to extend the season one more night. Have a great weekend. Enjoy Cole's Best of tomorrow night. We'll be back with a full week. We'll have a bunch of energy ready to fire at you on Monday night. Thanks.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
For a delicious dinner on the go that will please the whole family, get Hai Chai at Hy-Vee.
Right now, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for 4, just $22 during the month of June. Get 4 one-pint entrees, 2 pints of rice or lo mein, and 8 egg rolls or crab rangoon. That's right, get a Hy-Vee Chinese dinner for 4, just $22, now through the end of June. Dine in or carry out the crowd-pleasing, award-winning Hy-Vee Chinese today. Some restrictions may apply.
That's my neighbor, Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, John.
Joe's about to make a very big mistake. Hey, Joe, you think it might be a good idea to call 811 to have your underground utilities marked before you start digging?
John, that's just for big projects.
Actually, it's for any digging project. Congratulations, Joe. You found your electric line. Remember, safe digging always begins with a free call to 811. You want to borrow my phone, buddy?
Brought to you by Nebraska 811.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. Shelter Insurance has award-winning customer service at affordable rates.
Plus, our local agents are there to help you understand what coverage you need.